the fourth day of Christmas, namely 90s, gave to me 4 free funzos, 3 Corvettes, 2 drinks of sherry, and Pete in a pear tree.
Welcome to Namely 90s. Wow. The podcast that takes you back to the time before smartphones, Google, and Y2K. Join your hosts as they relive the pop culture that shaped a generation and the parts that many people wish they could forget. Listen in to the conversation about how the decade defined those who spent their childhood there and how it shaped them as adults. So, turn down the grunge and dial up the internet. Let's get started. It's time for Namely 90s.
That's right, you're listening to Namely 90s. My name's Andrew, and over there's Brandon.
That's me.
You can find us online at namely90s.com or on Instagram at namely90s with a 90s. You can also find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@namely90s. And if you'd like to support the show, head over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/namely90s, also with a 90s, and get signed up for one of our support levels. Welcome to episode 4 of our 4th annual 12 Days of Christmas specials. It's going swimmingly. We're doing it
Swimmingly. Merry Christmas Eve.
And once again another returning guest. We have Sam and Calum of the One of Us is Bored podcast. Welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having us back.
Hi there. Yes, great to be here.
Yeah, we appreciate it. As usual, why don't you guys give us a rundown of the podcast, what it's about, where we can find it, etc.
Well, we're One of Us is Bored, and we used to pitch ourselves as the professionally unprofessional podcast, but we're a lot more organized these days. We went a whole 12 months without missing a single week in terms of releasing an episode, like every Monday, like clockwork. Professionals, total pros, we're brilliant.
I'm proud, genuinely.
We are proud. Yeah, I'm proud too. It's a pretty big achievement. We pick a different theme each month. We'll select a number of themes that fit within films that fit within that theme, and we'll just have a chat about them. It's not really the sort of in-depth analysis that you'll get with other podcasts. We're more the sorts of conversations that you'd have with your friends as you leave the cinema after seeing a film. You know, we know our niche. Recent themes have included Twogist, where we spent a month looking at the Twilight films. Forgotten Disney Month, where we discovered that our selections were forgotten for a reason. And Dylan November, looking at films starring Dylan O'Brien. So if that sounds good, then, pop on by and see what we have to say for ourselves. To be perfectly honest, if you go back and listen to older episodes, you'll see that we used to try and go through the plots in great detail. And we just don't do that anymore. It only took us a year and a half to work out what it was we were doing. But, we got there in the end. People seem to like it. We've had a pretty good year, actually. And our 3rd anniversary will actually be in January. So we're pretty looking forward to next year. Themes next year include Indiana Jones month, the Unlikable Protagonist month, and more. So, yeah, if you want to check us out, you can find us in all the usual streaming places and follow us on Instagram. We're just shy of 1,000 followers as of now. So if you want to help us cross that line, I'm not too proud to beg. Yeah.
Ooh, we were recording this early, so maybe by the time this comes out, you'll have those 17 people. And if not, and you're listening to this, go give them a sub. I have to say, Twogist was my favorite just Instagram promotion.
Thank you.
Yeah. I think you guys started out, I forget how it went down, but I was just like, I remember seeing it and I'm like, this is my favorite thing ever.
Yeah, it was like a teaser with the font.
That's what it was.
The exact font from Twilight, pretty much.
Yeah,
or near
totally
enough.
legal work there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
similar but legally distinct. Perfect.
Yeah.
Just as we like it. That was a fun month to
Was it a fun month though?
Well, and of course, it's a Pacific Northwest institution, considering it takes place not too far from our stomping grounds.
Really?
Forks, Washington.
Yep.
Well, Forks is close. Well, no,
like
let's not say close.
Drive.
It's near-ish to the Seattle area where we're both from.
I was going to say, you look like your normal color. You're not like blue tinted, so I'm just kind of calling your bluff there.
True. I mean, when Andrew walks outside, he starts to sparkle.
There is some sparkling that happens. Yeah, that's true.
It's all the webcam that's keeping him from.
I see.
Yeah.
The only thing that sparkles with us is our sparkling personalities. So, yeah.
I mean, to be fair, Cal.
Let's see. And what else? I recall. So, weren't you in a film festival this year? Was that?
Nothing else, I think. Oh, is this 48 hour?
Yes.
Yes.
So we, as of this year, last year, so one of us is bored. It's a podcast, but it's slowly been expanding beyond that. We've been doing our little. I guess we've been exploring our little avenues as the years have gone on. I mean, we've always been exploring avenues. We started out as a YouTube channel way back in the way, but tens of viewers. You know?
We played Five Nights at Freddy's and 2 people watched.
Oh,
we were,
and that was us.
Big deal back in the day. But 48 Hour Film Festival, we entered last year. And we received a couple of nominations for our film, not our short film, Not Mulch Time. And we entered again this year. And we can now officially say that with 3 additional nominations and 1 win, we are officially an award-winning, I guess, content creation duo.
That's awesome.
That's fun just to throw out there.
It was winning for the poster in the movie competition, but still is a win.
It's the design aspect of it, and
right.
yeah. No, it was good fun. So yeah, our film this year was Robin the Magic Con, which if anyone cares, it's available to look at on YouTube. Just look up One of Us is Bored and you'll find it there. So
I'll throw it in the comments or description for the episode. I remember I watched it. I supported and
you did. I remember you.
It was pretty. I enjoyed it. That was well done, especially for putting it together in 48 hours.
Yeah, it's always fun to have a go at acting, acting, quote unquote.
I was deliberately not acting this year. Like, not much time put me off. I was like, no.
No, it's good fun.
Cool. Let's see what else. You guys are pros. You have your rap sheet and everything that's coming up, and there's what else to ask. Andrew,
I mean, it's just to talk on that front. We've actually pretty much planned our themes all the way through to December next year.
That's awesome.
With the exception of like 2 months, 3, because we I say selfishly, we deign our birthday month. So Sam's March and mine's June. Like without sort of having to go through the other one. Like that is a free choice basically. So I made Sam watch a bunch of quite hardcore foreign films last year.
3 hour long Polish films.
We watched, was it RRR, which is a 3 hour long film from India. Really, really good. Yeah. But when you look at the length and stuff, you're like, oh god, that's quite a commitment. That's
and we had to do that in 1 week because you had other stuff going on.
I was going to Spain and I was being international, traveling around, and we had to fit like 3 films into like a week and then record them all and then just release them on time. And we still kept our schedule and everything as well. But kudos. We're trying anyway. We're really trying to make this thing work. I mean, it helps that we enjoy it as well. Like, I think we're still having a really, really good time with this. And, we've been getting some nice feedback and we've been getting, quite a lot of regular engagement with people as well. So,
that's awesome.
We're having fun.
Yeah.
That's funny because I can't even make it through certain 22-minute episodes of television. And you guys are over there with your 3 hour Polish films.
But then you're doing deep dives. Like, so I listened to your deep dive of Blink 182 and near the beginning, Calum, Andrew's like, oh, I don't like Blink 182. And I'm like, bloody hell.
Yes,
some deep dive.
I'm going to give you a deep dive into the deep dives, which is my schedule has become increasingly busy as I'm transitioning into a new job. I'm constantly traveling. So often the joke is that the deep dives are basically like, we just read Wikipedia and distill the important points down for you.
That was our podcast for years.
I mean, so the fact that Andrew was the one that pitched the deep dives at the beginning of last year, and I was like, I don't see us having enough time to do this over the course of the year. But
The good news is nothing is permanent, right?
Yeah, but it turned out to he did it. We did it.
It's going okay. I think part of it is like we try to choose things that are somewhat relevant to the the algorithm that week, so that we can sort of capitalize on traffic. And there wasn't much. And although I wasn't a huge fan of Blink-182, my tack there was, well, I wasn't a huge fan, but sometimes when you understand or research something better, you become a fan of it.
Yeah.
Didn't work in this case, but it was worth a try.
I mean, they're funny because they're like, I commented this on your Spotify. They're like the worst live band ever, but they're still unbelievably good live. I don't know how to describe
Interesting.
that.
Yeah, I see what you mean. And that's why I describe them as sort of like juvenile, like you don't expect it to be, the best show, but yet it's a good show. It's weird. I don't know.
Yeah, you have to go. They're iconic. They actually cancelled here, so no one got to see them in Glasgow.
Oh, no.
So
that's
Kardashians.
Oh yeah, Travis Barker.
Yeah, and he's like the main musician in the band. So if he's not there, you're just watching two guys,
just like playing chords that they learned how to do 20 years ago, 30 years ago.
You need the good drummer because he's
banging
like
on pots and pans. That's what it reminds me of.
He does drive the songs. I was going to do the deep dive on Blink-182. I had it scheduled on my sheet to do it in the following when I did my deep dive, and I just threw it out because I knew that Andrew didn't like them, so I didn't think he would do the episode on it.
But Brandon got his revenge because yesterday we recorded was it yesterday? 2 days ago? Whatever. The deep dive he did was Doctor Who in the 90s, which there's nothing I could be less interested in. So that was his payback. I'd sit there for an hour like, Actually, it wasn't as bad as I thought, but that was good.
In the 90s?
Just Paul McGann.
Oh, this is just the film.
And there was an EastEnders crossover for the 30th, and a Red-Nosed Day. Yeah.
Well, also these deep dives are they're an excuse to cheat a little bit because yes, things are in the 90s, but often there's stuff on either side of the 90s that's pertinent. So we went all the way from the 60s to present day.
True. But the meat of the episode was McGann, but then there was some other stuff that I found while researching, which was interesting. And then also there's the Curse of the Fatal Death, I think is what it's called, the Red-Nosed Day special from 1999 with Rowan Atkinson, Hugh Grant.
As opposed to those non-fatal deaths one would experience.
Yeah. But anyways, it's a parody where basically he keeps regenerating in this episode and is like 5 different people and then ends up as the 13th Doctor as a woman. Oddly
weird.
Imagine such a world.
Yeah. And it was written by Stephen Moffat. So
that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. I love Rowan Atkinson, so I'd seen that one before. Anyway, that's enough about our podcast. But we don't often get to speak to. Well, I guess we do have Gaz and Dange weekly.
To speak to the poor quality of our show.
Yeah.
That's so mean.
It's okay. Self-deprecation is the worst form of humor. It's really like it's the cheapest, easiest, least creative form of humor, which is why I have mastered it.
That's why I'm in improv. So let's move on to the episode. Well, not to the episode, but as our listeners know, we're bringing on our guests to watch an episode of 90s Christmas television, and today we've picked The Simpsons, The Grift of the Magi, or is it Maggie?
Magi.
Yeah, I know.
But I see your point. There could have been a pun there.
Yeah. Well, I think Grift is the pun, but
had she been in the episode at all, by the way? I don't think she appeared in this episode.
She was in there. Yeah, she was on the couch.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was she?
Yeah, briefly. She wasn't like a character, but she was there.
I know she was in the couch gag, but I don't recall.
No, she was on the couch when they were all watching the TV and Lisa was getting pissy.
Gotcha.
Okay.
So most of the episode. No, season 11, episode 9 of The Simpsons. But first, let's talk about our relationship with the show. Last year, we brought you on to talk about Quantum Leap. Now we're bringing you on to talk about The Simpsons. Kind of
polar opposites in terms of popularity, I guess.
Yes. Although that reboot, Quantum Leap, is still going somehow.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, it is, isn't it?
I think
it only just appeared here. We didn't get it for ages, and it's only in the past couple of months that we got it. And I'm like, oh, the shame we got that.
And also, didn't we determine basically that it is just a ripoff of Doctor Who, like most TV shows? Like they go to a different place or dimension or whatever and do something good, and then next week it's somewhere else.
I wish they stuck with that though for the reboot. Like it's just not that anymore.
I see.
Really? Okay.
It's like a messy drama, and like he's gone girl.
Is this on CBS or is it an NBC deal, Brandon? I guess I could look that up with the internet.
NBC.
Oh wow, it seems very CBS-y.
It's on Peacock here, whatever. That
that would be NBC.
Yes. So The Simpsons. Let's go with our guests first.
Yeah. Okay. Go.
Do you have any memory of The Simpsons?
Right. Well, I'll start because I'm responsible for us being on this episode this year. Sam chose Quantum Leap last year before I got a word in, and
that's right.
So we we were quite early with this, and The Simpsons for me, it's probably, I mean, it's ever so slightly older than I am. It's been around my entire life. It's something I grew up with when in a time when, you know, you look back and parents were very controlling about the sorts of TV that their children were watching. My sister and I were watching The Simpsons when we were like 4 and 5 years old, and most of the jokes are going over our heads at the time. And you look back in some of these older episodes, though they're a bit dated, you know, the golden era, like seasons, I guess everyone's got their own definition of what that is, but generally speaking, seasons like 2 to 8, I guess, are kind of like the golden era sort of. A lot of those episodes still hold up, and I think for me, The Simpsons is very much a kind of it's a comfort viewing show. It's the sort of thing where I will put on in the background. They'll put on the off. That having friend on going night on my something like that. So it's been ever present. God help me, I've even been watching like the newer ones. Like I've watched everything up to, I think we just got season 33 added in the UK to Disney Plus. I think we're a year behind American release. So I'm working my way through that at the moment. It's had its peaks and its sort of dips. There's definitely been some very, very bad times. But I would argue that some of the newer ones, while it's definitely not back at the creative peak that it had in the 90s, it's had its moments, and there's definitely some golden sort of gems in there if you're willing to find them. So, you know, I'm a fan. I'm an old school fan. I always have. I probably always will be. But to see that it's definitely not without its flaws. Oh, my bad.
Oh, you're fine. Well said. It is interesting that, you know, as kids, we were watching this because my kid tried to come into the room and I was like, maybe not the best show for you. And it was when they were inspecting Bart's coccyx, which we'll get into later. And my kid's just like, this is a funny show. And I was like, yes, it is.
Sorry if Calum's audio was a little cut there.
That's fine. Yeah.
We're actually using 1990s internet just for the authenticity.
He's moved down to the middle of nowhere.
It might well be my fault. I now live out in the countryside. I actually bought my own property, so I'm no longer renting, which is lovely.
Yeah.
But I'm now in a tiny town population of like 6,000, and then you know, there's people here. You're lucky if you can get them to use the internet at all. Never mind having internet access. So it's
they only invented the internet like 5 years ago. And then they're coming, funnily enough.
Yeah.
They're still relying mostly on facts.
Yeah. Well, you're kind of joking. The Scottish border has only got 4G about 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh.
Wow.
So we are so far back. Yeah.
You're on the frontier.
But then how is the government controlling you with the COVID vaccine if you only have 4G? This is a fair question.
That's why he's in padded cell. Like, you have to be quiet.
Okay, so we've heard from Calum. Sam, was this true revenge for picking Quantum Leap without even giving him any input last year?
I swear to God, it wasn't that bad, Calum.
By the way, I appreciated that because I didn't think anyone was going to pick the Quantum Leap episode.
I was like, oh my God, it's just for me. Calum has to just come along. So if he doesn't do social media, that's what happens. But this year,
fair.
Simpsons is I don't know anyone who like strongly dislikes the Simpsons, like classic Simpsons. It's just something everyone liked, I guess, in the UK. Like it was at one point something that people used to talk about. They talked about the Simpsons episode, and people still quote it like buggery here. But for me, I don't quite have the same passionate love that Calum does. If it's on, I'll watch it. There's some classic VHS episodes that I'm really nostalgic about because when I was a kid, that's all I could watch was the video skipping to me. So the episode that had Rock the Casbah in it is like the one I reference the most because that's just the one that's stuck in my head because I watched it over and over again. But I kind of dropped off watching it after the Simpsons movie, and for me, that is the line of when it turned truly a bit try hard. Maybe they wanted to stay relevant, and I get it, but let something go. Shows have to end at some point, and this one maybe should have ended 10 years ago. But at the same time, I would be sad if they cancelled it. I can't be pleased here.
Yeah.
So yeah, Calum's definitely the stan here.
I would agree with that, though. I'd agree with that. I do feel like I want there to be a proper ending before any more of the cast die. We've lost several cast members in the past couple of years. The woman that who voiced Mrs. Krabappels died. The woman who voiced Martin Prince has died. There's been a couple of other replaces. Marge's voice has gone to
Marge's
shot.
Voice is so sore.
She's been doing that voice for 30 plus years, and it's just nothing. It sounds like she's swallowing razors now. It's just awful. I'd like them to end it before one of the main five dies, basically.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think
it'll still be sad when it happens, though, right? Kind of.
I mean, I think it'll be a moment in time for a lot of 90s kids and probably 80s kids as well, to a huge extent. I think, it'll be a defining moment, but there's been plenty of times or plenty of episodes that would have worked well as kind of final episodes, and they've just kind of, Fox or whoever has just ordered more and more, and they're ordering them 2 seasons at a time at the moment when they do. And I think now with it being on Disney primarily, streaming numbers, things can get picked up for new seasons, and they don't necessarily need big numbers to get picked up. And as a brand, it's still pretty strong. I mean, I know it's not as popular as it was, but it's definitely not a weak brand these days. I think if Disney wanted to, they could keep it going for a long time. Yeah, I just hope they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think part of what keeps it going is that this show kind of is the Fox network. I mean, it was really their first and biggest and longest running hit. So, I mean, I think it's probably why it's a little hard to let go, but same thing for me. I don't like anything, but especially things that are popular, but I do like this. Just watched it a lot as a kid, probably shouldn't have been watching it, frankly, but it's a good show. I like that they often predict things. That's kind of a thing, is they're sort of prophetic in that they can see things coming, and many of those things have proven to be true, including, say, Donald Trump running for president. They actually predicted that. So kind of fun. Good show. I think anything that's on this long is going to have ups and downs, but pretty remarkable feat to be on this long.
Yeah. I mean, it's been on since we've been alive. It started the year I was born. Technically, it started in 87 with the shorts on the Tracy Ullman show. But yeah, it's an institution. It's Animation Sundays on Fox is still, I will still watch The Simpsons. I'll sadly watch the new episodes of Family Guy, Little Bob's Burgers. And I agree. When the Simpsons movie came out, which Andrew and I went to the midnight premiere of,
Oh my
I thought it was
God.
good. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was fun.
yeah,
I
But
like
then
the
again,
movie.
yeah.
Good ending point.
but it all, like, the quality of the show declined because they were working on the movie, and as Calum said, it has its ups and downs. And I think they got back to decent, like, there's the first, what some people say the first 6 seasons. I would say the first 12 seasons are quality, and then there's like a little dip back up somewhere in the mid-20s, but these new seasons, like the last probably 4 seasons, they've stopped focusing on like the Simpsons core family as the story point, and like they'll do like weird experimental things for an episode, and while good, it keeps it fresh. I kind of miss focusing on the Simpson family, if that makes
I would
sense.
agree with that, because when they do focus on the family, they get it right. There's a relatively new episode from the last couple of years. I think it's called Pixelated and Afraid. And Marge and Homer end up lost in the woods. And it's a really like beautiful like look at their relationship as a pair. And like, I mean, it gets a little bit cartoony as it would, like with is it a mountain lion or something, or a wolverine comes after them at one point and they have to like shoo it away with a boot or something. But like it's a really, really nice little character study for the two. And as a piece of animation, they go through these really beautiful environments and stuff. And then you think, I don't know, you've got other episodes that are, a bit more wacky and zany. And you kind of think when the writers try hard, they can really get it right. And I think there is still something that this show, has to say for itself. And there's plenty of stories that it could say for itself. But I think a lot of it these days does tend to lean more on the zany rather than the, I guess if you can say, humanity for the characters. So,
yeah, agreed. And I forgot to read the part about how it started as shorts on the Tracy Ullman Show in 1987. The show focuses, like, I don't feel like I have to read "This is the Simpsons"
You probably don't.
to anyone, because everyone knows. Shall we get into the episode?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, season 11, episode 9, "The Grift of the Magi." They did the full intro on this one, and it was like, that's not a good sign, because usually that means they didn't have enough to fill an episode. But
So wow, is that a long intro?
Oh yeah, and you forget until they do that full one. Chalkboard Bart's chalkboard writing this time was, "I will not sell my kidney on eBay." And then the couch guy was a fire pole entrance to the couch. I think I got halfway through this episode and was like, how is this a Christmas episode? I'll be honest.
I agree. Yeah, it's
been a minute since I saw this one.
Can I add a tiny little bit of? I've been doing a little bit of digging, a little bit of reading. Fun 90s trivia for you. This was the final 90s episode of The Simpsons. This was the last Simpsons episode of the 90s to be released. But as far as Christmas episodes go, you're right. It's a bit of an odd one to choose in a way. And actually, just before we go into the plot, this is maybe a good time to say this. I hadn't watched this one for quite a long time, and I think season 11, I've got a little bit of a mixed relationship with. I do think that this is the season where you've got things like Homer bungee jumping down into the world's core, and there's the world of the mole men down there, and you've got the jockeys that live underground in season 11 as well. You've got a lot of like weird and wonderful things starting to happen in this season. It's a bit out there. And I remembered this one primarily as like the Furby parody sort of. And I kind of thought, I wonder if this is going to be a little bit, kind of as Sam said, a little bit try hard in some ways. I was actually kind of genuinely shocked at how funny bits of this are. Like we'll go through Act 1, but Act 1 is kind of like gag after gag after gag after gag, and like not necessarily all relating to the story, but like it's actually quite it's pretty, I don't know, it's pretty much a quality of writing that you would hope would be implemented in all episodes, to be fair, in terms of that, at least. Sorry, that's me just dictating everything. On you go.
It's so funny how you guys like talk about things in seasons and stuff, whereas I'm like the quantum leap person that you guys were last time. I'm like, cool, like I know them like post movie, pre-movie, like I don't fucking know seasons.
I'm with you. I couldn't tell you by season at all.
No,
I did a rewatch during COVID.
That's fair.
I'm sad and have no life. So
no, but I'm sad and have no life too. But I just couldn't. I just feel like such a fake fan. Like I could say I enjoy it, but like
we're not gatekeeping here. Unless Calum, should we gatekeep them from this conversation?
I might. Yeah.
You might.
We'll see.
You're doing Devil November with me later, Calum.
That's true. Yeah.
Let's see. So you're right. This is a bunch of random gags thrown in to drive the plot, which is, I don't know. That is kind of like The Simpsons. I remember this was also the year Family Guy came out, so I think they had to kind of fight that sort of Family Guy style storytelling where they're just like suddenly doing flashbacks and doing random things to get into. Oh,
you mean like the ozone hole and the Robin Williams hair joke?
Yes.
I found how are they going to get there?
Yeah.
I found the ozone hole thing funny, like, don't get me wrong. And what I love about these older shows is like, wow, that's still kind of like an ongoing.
We haven't done a thing.
Social thing. Yeah.
Then Bart and Milhouse are having to play inside because the ozone was trying to kill Milhouse. That was pretty funny. And then they're playing dress up in Homer and Marge's room, and they get into Marge's clothes, and the
sisters are doing it for themselves.
Yeah.
And now we're getting into the 90s humor. It's quite prolific here in the first act.
The homophobia, yes. But like watching this, I'm like, am I watching the episode where Homer takes Bart to the factory to try to make him not gay? The steelworking factory. Yeah.
So I might be projecting a reading onto this, but you know, there is obviously the joke as well that, like, you know, Milhouse is the dud. Like, nobody loves Milhouse. Nobody likes Milhouse. Perhaps he'd be fine with Bart being gay just if it wasn't Milhouse. Like, this better not be gay.
Oh yeah, that's fair.
I mean, I know that's not like contextually given reading there, but I like to project that onto it myself. Just
I also think something. You know, shows like Friends, like they make the joke for what it is. I think that obviously The Simpsons does it more in a satirical way. Like there probably is that dad out there that's like, I want a non-gay explanation, but you know, that's probably the difference.
I think back to the South Park episode where Big Gay Al is their scout leader, and the kids call each other silly billies, and Stan's dad's like, you call your friend a I don't know, some bastard or whatever, like a normal kid. Yeah.
And I love that Homer's relieved that the 10-year-olds are just really drunk.
Yes.
He's 10, right?
We're drunk, really
Don't
drunk.
Oh, thank God, they're just drunk.
Yeah. And Bart falls off the bed.
It's just about him,
Yeah. Does a Batman Bane on a bowling ball. Cracks his coccyx. Also, Milhouse had a good line. I can't wait until we're teenagers, then we'll be happy.
Yeah, I made a note of that. That's one of my favorite lines from the whole thing. That's so funny.
I also do appreciate that when they say that he had a cracked coccyx, they just everyone laughed. That was just the joke.
Even Marge, she's like bloody,
To be fair, if any of you came to me and said that, I would laugh at you. I know it's not funny. Nice, but it's a funny injury.
And then you'd also think we didn't mean our butts.
Yeah.
So Bart's in a wheelchair. He's in a butt cast. The school isn't ADA accessible. Fat Tony just walks up and offers to help and starts construction on ADA accessible.
Yeah, when
ramps.
the truck's all pulled up, That was pretty funny. I laughed at that. And then I like that they immediately called that out. Like, how did they get here so fast? They said they keep rolling for legal reasons.
Yeah. The sight gags in that section are brilliant. Like Fat Tony appearing from behind a tree or a flagpole or something like that. He's so, like the tree is tiny and he just appeared. Like it's so cartoony and just wonderful. And yeah, I love it.
And he's just there for a second and gone. Or well, not gone. He comes back to give a receipt for 200,000 for the breadstick ramps that they made.
And it has a smiley face on it. It's a 200 G's, thank you, smiley face.
Did anyone think it was funny when I think Skinner like leaned on Fat Tony's car and then some guy came out from off the frame and like cleaned the car and just disappeared.
Yeah, don't lean on my car. Oh, sorry. Clean up. And then so the school's out of funds because Fat Tony took all their money. So they're trying to grift Mr. Burns into giving them money by doing a school play.
I love the play.
Called The Nice Man Giveth. Let's see. It starts with Nelson accidentally putting rat poison into a soup broth. Because he can't read. So many good gags.
I always keep those things side by side in the kitchen in the exact same container, don't you?
Absolutely.
Of course. Mr. Burns' reactions to that are like, they're literally, there's lines in the play referencing Mr. Burns and he sat there like, this play really speaks to me.
That was awesome.
I never liked that Dr. Stupid.
Yeah, I think that when he cuts the head off, I think I laughed out loud at that.
I just loved it was Ralph and he was Dr. Stupid. Yes. And then they're like, oh, give us money. Or Mr. Burns, this was actually a way to get you to give us money. And then he has a button that says trapdoor button, and then they end up falling from the ceiling. Just great sight gags.
Did they predict Portal by the Valve Corporation?
The orange box was out by 99, wasn't it?
Okay, fine.
I don't know.
We're doing a Google check, Calum. We do this.
I don't think so.
No, Portal 1 was 2007.
Okay, there you go. Wow. Let's
Google
see.
check.
Then we get the school gets purchased by the Kid First, or not purchased, but supported, I guess, by the Kid First industry.
Yes.
I do like how they had the banner that said under new management. But kind of funny because I looked up Jim Hope because the voice sounded familiar, and it's Tim Robbins, which is strange because we just recorded a podcast where we watched The Shawshank Redemption and responded to it. I mean, 3 or 4 days ago? Yeah. And I was like, when have I ever seen Tim Robbins in something else? And then he said this.
We were guests on Screen Age Wastelands, the canon, and talked about Shawshank. And yeah. This
you're recording a lot. Wow.
Yeah. We originally were going to record in the summer for a different movie, but then got busy, and we were like, oh yeah, we could do it in October, no problem.
It got busy, so we put it off to a busier time of year.
Yeah, near Christmas.
Yep. Yep. I make smart choices. So yeah, Jim Hope, Tim Robbins, is the new teacher for Bart. They gave severance packages to all the teachers, which was a bunch of Valencia oranges to Skinner. I thought that was funny.
These are juicing oranges. Is that what he says?
Yes, that's what he says. Bart starts kicking books, and it's revealed, or that's. Yeah, I didn't understand the kicking books thing. I just thought it was funny. And then Marge is like, why don't you kick some books, Lisa? And she's like, Bart kicked all my books. Anyway, it's revealed that the new teachers are market research people. The new owners they do market research for children's toys. Lisa gets in trouble for doing actual schoolwork. Yeah. And she has to write, I will not do math in class on the chalkboard. And then she notices Bart turns out the light while she's in the room. And she notices there's like light coming from behind the blackboard, and goes into the broom closet between the two classrooms, where they've been conducting the market research. A skeletal funzo comes out of nowhere and quote attacks her, so she claims. They go back, find just an empty broom closet.
It's funny that they had a prototype already made.
True.
In the
Well, they knew basically what they were doing. Fun fact, I'm actually scared of Furbies. I don't like them.
They're creepy. Like you can't get them to turn off. You shove them in a drawer somewhere and you hear them talking, at
and
night.
Every now and then their eyes twitch and they're like, oh, you're still alive. You should be dead. You're 20 years old.
I believe they all have a soul.
Yes, they turn on when their batteries are out.
But I did find it funny, the broom closet had the danger sign on it, like danger.
That was pretty good. And then when
I was just saying, and that they acknowledged that, like Lisa acknowledged prior to opening the broom closet that she was going to look like a fool and it was just going to be a regular broom closet. I think that was better than just doing that gag,
Yeah. They're watching Krusty the Clown's non-denominational. I didn't catch the full line. Non-denominational holiday special, I assume.
Yeah.
Starring Tia Leone, Beck, the Dixie Chicks, and Patrick Ewing.
So 90s. Like the problem with Simpsons for me, sometimes I have no idea who they're referencing when they have the guest stars on, or I'm like, who dat? Like, 'cause one, I'm not American, and two, I'm a bit young, I think, for it. What about you, Calum? Did you get all the people they were talking about?
I know Beck and the Dixie Chicks.
I know, Beck and the Dixie Chicks. Yeah.
They were ones. This is definitely. This is a good point to bring this up. Actually, even so, we've not got there yet, and I'm skipping ahead. But Gary Coleman as a guest star, I literally just know him for the "What You Talking About" thing, and I only know that through other shows parodying it. Like I don't know the original context for that. So,
it was a show called Different Strokes.
Sure.
From the 70s. Was it Different Strokes?
Remember that time when the Dixie Chicks got canceled in 2003 for speaking out against George Bush?
Oh, they're just fun. The Chicks now.
They had to take that out, true. But that was an interesting time in our country.
Yeah, that was at a concert while in London. That was kind of like the start of when I guess the internet and stuff could be a little bit dangerous for you because people were filming at the show and all that sort of stuff. So they were kind of they were. It's funny how they went from being basically beloved to getting referenced in things like this around about that time to then just kind of getting ditched and moved aside, and no one would dare touch them for quite a while after that.
Well, the good thing is that things have changed substantially in our country. Oh, wait, except if you speak out against Israel. Whoops.
Yeah.
That's currently happening here. It's kind of fun.
It's happening here too. When you work. We're well aware. Excuse me.
I'm back.
That's what just happened to you. They got you too.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I was just thinking, hopefully this isn't relevant a month from now.
Yeah, you never know. It will be. Nothing ever changes.
I thought the Ukraine war would be done by now. And
that's true. That's true.
So.
But just to go back, just to tie this back, let's tie ourselves back into where we're going. So Dusty's non-denominational, whatchamacallit,
Coleman's pro-Hamas? No.
What is it? A Kwezi Kwanzaa tip-top tap and a solemn Ramadan. And then he just blasphemes against them all. And now a word from my God, our sponsor.
Yes, that was pretty good.
The writing on that is fantastic. That is fantastic.
Yeah. Just a small note. Tia Leone is David Duchovny's wife.
Duchovny.
From Fox Mulder from The X-Files.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah.
She's an actress. She was in Bad Boys.
She's spectacularly unlikable.
Jurassic Park 3. The political drama Madam Secretary.
Such big roles.
Yeah.
How could we not heard of her?
Yeah. Yeah. She had a small part in A League of Their Own. Anyway. And then Patrick Ewing is a former Knicks basketball player, I believe.
I knew he did basketball of some kind. Like that was his gag. He spun the basketball.
Yeah.
So you didn't even have to know who he was to get the not joke.
Wasn't a joke.
They see the Funzo commercial with the tagline, "If you don't have Funzo, you're nothing."
Yeah.
It reminds me of is it Gabble? Was Gabble a thing in The Simpsons? It reminds me of that advert. Yeah, the exact same flashy thing, the puppet thing. It was the exact same advert.
Yeah. Early Simpsons, that's like season 4 or something like that. That's like very far on. But yeah, lots of flashy name throwing. Yeah. Actually, it's very similar. I'm sure there's like a very similar tagline as well. Now that you say that.
Conspiracy.
If you don't have Gabble, you're nothing. Well, I mean, these were like not Tim Robbins, but the other marketing research persons, usually in like advertising and whatever in The Simpsons. So it's possible. In universe, she just does all the ads.
It's such an elaborate ruse. Considering now you just go on Facebook and they do the exact same thing to you. Like now they don't even need to go to school. They're like, cool.
We're already stealing your children's data.
Yeah. Before they're born.
Yeah. We know because you have an Apple Watch that tells you when you're ovulating or not.
Yeah. Mine keeps telling me that I am. I'm not sure how to interpret that personally.
So we get Gary Coleman as a security guard. They go to the Funzo headquarters because they're all up in arms because they realize what's happening. He does the line from Different Strokes that everyone parodies. And
don't do it. Please don't do it.
I like the part where after he says the line, I know, and she walks away. He's like, I know exactly what she was talking about. Anyway, they get a free Funzo because they were just turned away or something.
Really sorry, we screwed you over here.
Bart was willing to accept the free Funzo. He's like, all right. And then they just go on their way.
At least had to just go with it.
And then he was making his Christmas list with all just Funzo accessories, which are also funny.
I think one of them was like the
European battery adapter,
the lower back chair or whatever.
Lower back pain chair. Yeah.
And then Funzo destroys Malibu Stacy and other toys.
That made me laugh the way he like really like aggressively destroyed these other toys,
strangling Krusty to death. Yeah.
And then someone says he must be designed to eliminate the competition. And then someone's like, you mean like Microsoft? Zing.
Oh, shots fired.
Yeah.
That one's outdated.
Yep.
In the big way. I was like, ooh.
Yeah, remember when Microsoft was like putting everyone out of business with Internet Explorer? And now fast forward to this year where everyone is doing everything they can to avoid Edge or Internet Explorer.
Please use Edge. Please.
Like, here's why Edge is better. And then it like goes into this diatribe and you can't exit. And then you go to try to download Chrome like everyone does. And it's like, but no, actually, this browser is still better. Like, no, you can't do that.
Chrome actually puts your tabs to sleep now, so it doesn't have a strain on your CPU.
It seems vaguely illegal considering what happened to Microsoft that they should, when you search for something on their browser, try to convince you to keep their browser.
Fair.
You'd think.
So on Christmas Eve at 6 p.m., the Simpsons have a plan to break into everyone's houses and steal everyone's Funzo. Wow, my brain deleted that word. So the kids went caroling, and then Homer would break in as Santa in the background and steal the Funzos.
I love that scene, but it's such an overreaction because I didn't think Funzo did anything that bad yet. Like, they only killed 2 toys. Like, and I was like, never like erasing everyone.
Why did Homer have to dress as Santa?
In case he was seen.
It's a Christmas episode.
Just to emphasize the Christmasness of it. I mean, I think him breaking in and kicking over the tree.
That was good. Yeah,
and the kids having to cover up the sound of that with their singing is hilarious.
Getting attacked by the dog, or was that a cat?
Yeah, no, it's fantastic. I think that's probably one of my favorite scenes from the whole episode, honestly.
Yeah.
Good gag. And so they take it to the Springfield tire fire, toss all the funzos on the fire. They start melting a la Terminator, or Terminator 2. And then Gary Coleman shows up again, because he's the security guard for the corporation that owns Funzo, and they argue all into the night, and then in the morning it's Christmas, so they invite Gary Coleman to Christmas, and
we're narrated out of there. They don't even give us that. They're like, no, we're going to narrate our way past this.
And then, I think my favorite joke of the episode was at Christmas dinner or something, or breakfast or whatever. Mr. Burns comes in and they say he was visited by 3 ghosts during the night, so he found money in one of his coats to give to the school. And then Mo had a "It's a Wonderful Life" moment while sticking his head into an oven, and he came with a Christmas goose.
Yeah. Yes. This is roughly about the time where they started putting a lot of the almost suicidal jokes into the episodes, and it's yeah,
a bit much. I don't know. I found it a bit dark.
Yeah. There's one, I think it might even be in the same season, where he tries to hang himself and the beam just breaks and then he starts crying because he can't do anything right, basically. And that's the joke. And you're like, I don't know, like, yeah, kind of.
A little dark.
It, but like,
a bit bleak.
A bit bleak. But I think this episode, the ending for it, actually, we end with like the Gary Coleman line again, "What you talking about, everyone?"
Oh, yeah.
Season 11 and probably 10 and 12 as well have this problem where they don't quite know how to end their episodes. So they get you to a point and then they're like, right, we've got 45 seconds left. Let's... and I mean, early Simpsons did this to an extent as well. Sometimes you'd have episodes where the family are just laughing extended for amounts of time at like something, and that's the end. But season 11 is particularly bad for just having endings that aren't really endings. They're just flat. Honestly, like it's not a funny, that one line I don't think is a particularly funny way to see you on your way. It
was just, hey, we're paying for Gary Coleman, might as well just have him do the joke a third time.
Yeah. It gets funnier every time. Let's hear it again. Yeah.
Rule of 3s. Yeah. Final thoughts on the episode?
It was weirdly not sentimental. I feel like The Simpsons usually for Christmas go for sentimentality. Like they try and make you like sad. You're like, oh, Christmas has been ruined. Like when it got burnt down and with Santa's little helper getting found and stuff adopted in. And this one was just weird. I don't know what I was expecting, but it wasn't this. I like the more I watched it, the more I remembered of it. Like I've not watched The Simpsons in a very long time, to be honest. But yeah, it was weirdly just played for laughs, which is not what I remembered holidays being like.
Yeah, it was quite good that Christmas was used as a framing mechanism rather than like, here's our Christmas episode, let's get everyone out in the snow, basically, which loads of the others do. Because off the top of my head, I don't know that I would rank this in terms of even like my top 5 Simpsons Christmas episodes. Miracle on Evergreen Terrace is up there, and the original debut episode's up there, and the one where Bart steals the video game is kind of
I love
Christmassy
that one
as well. Like
that's
all of
that's
these
classic.
All of these moments up there, and then you've got the Christmas Funzo episode, and it's of all the kind of Simpsons Christmas episodes you could pick to feel Christmassy, this probably isn't the one.
Was they dodged around their message because they're like talking about the commercialization of Christmas, but then the part where they debated that, they're like, we're just going to narrate past this. I'm like, well, you didn't really want to say the thing.
Let's just come to the natural. I mean, to be fair, The Simpsons in the 90s is a huge part of the problem with their face like stamped on all different kinds of merchandise. And
do you remember the cola they had? The
Buzz
juices,
Cola?
the fizzy juice? No, it was like I remember it was like they had different fruit flavors, and it was like a fizzy juice. I don't know if they had it in America. They had it in the UK, and like Lisa was grape flavored, and Bart was berry flavored. Like they all had their own flavor.
I don't remember that, but I do remember them being in places they really shouldn't have been, such as Nutella did a range of special jars for a while with Simpsons characters printed. So you could basically, after you'd bought your Nutella and scooped it all out, you could wash it and then you've basically got a Simpsons glass. And like you kind of think that's, I mean, it's just typical commercial crossover branding, but like what the hell does The Simpsons have to do with Nutella? You know, like it's just there's not a natural pairing there. And so the whole Christmas message, The Simpsons is part of the problem in that respect. So they have to, the idea that, well, let's just agree that, you know, the commercialization of Christmas is a mixed blessing at best. Well, they can't really preach otherwise. Like they can't. What was I going to say? As far as an episode goes, I think, you know, in terms of humor, it's really, really strong. There's lots of funny one-liners. You know, Mr. Burns calling for focus for the play because he's blind as a bat, like really funny. Like people applauding Bart for having bounced on his butt. You know, like lots of funny bits in there. As a story, it's not great. Like I think the individual jokes are stronger than the actual story that's being told. I don't think it's a particularly memorable episode overall. And it's certainly not one of the better Christmas episodes, but you could do a lot worse, especially for The Simpsons. So, yeah.
Fair. I must have picked the worst 90s Christmas or Simpsons Christmas episode off of a list on purpose because, like, the video game one, I love that one. Why would I not have picked that one?
I was just going to say the one where their tree burns down as well, and the whole town comes to buy them a new one, and then it finds out that like, oh, it wasn't stolen; it was just Bart.
Yeah,
Bart's toy. Like that's a great story. What was your reasoning for choosing this one?
I honestly don't know. It must have been like because I knew there were the good ones, and I honestly have no idea why I picked this one. It must have been I didn't want to pick one that's good because then we couldn't find something to talk about. At least poke fun at.
My parting comment is lots of laughs. Not the best Christmas episode, but when you look at Christmas episodes, relative thing based on what we've watched. It could have been Refrigerator Day, which was from dinosaurs in the early 90s. That was garbage.
But like the series finale.
The one thing I will say is
that the last one? The Refrigerator Day, is that the one where they like everyone dies?
I think that wasn't it?
It was season 2, episode 12. I don't know.
Never mind then.
If that stayed on for more than 2 seasons. Anyway, I thought the individual jokes were good. I liked the satire in this episode. The Gary Coleman thing was you could have done without it. I don't think it was a very good joke. I think it was 20 years too late. Like it just wasn't. It didn't work.
Clearly a guest stars episode.
Yeah. But nice to get back into The Simpsons. This is one I do need to rewatch the series. So we'll see.
Indeed. All right. Well, that's it for this holiday edition of Namely 90s. Thank you to Sam and Calum thank you to Sam and Calum from One of Us is Bored for coming on. Let our listeners know where to find you, Sam and or Calum.
You go, Sam.
No, you go.
See. Okay. You can find us on all the usual streaming places. We're Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Audible, all of those Amazon, fun places. Yeah. Cool. And follow us on Instagram at One of Us is Bored. Help us get to 1,000 followers. We'll love you a long time.
And as always, you can find us on Instagram and YouTube at Namely90s with a 90s and tell us how your holidays are going. If you'd like to support the show, please check out our Patreon, patreon.com/Namely90s, also with 90s. And finally, you can contact us through our website, Namely90s.com, but you can't. Please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Audible, Funzo, Deezer, TuneIn, iHeart, Good Pods, and wherever you get your podcasts from. I'm Brandon. That's Andrew. And thank you one final time to Sam and Calum from One of Us is Bored. And we'll catch you tomorrow for our day 5 of our 12 Days of Christmas Specials 2023.
whenever.
that'd be
really.
fine. That'd be fine. Yeah.